Hello, fellow crafters. So, question, do you remember this video where we're going to create backgrounds? Well, we did create backgrounds, but we're going to create cards, two cards and a die from that video if you saw how I made these backgrounds. So here I'm using the My Favorite Things tag dies. I will have all the supplies listed in the description under this video. So I decided for the first background, I was going to use the white background with the blue mica spray stencil image, and I was going to create a background. So I'm going to use my die to figure out exactly what part of the image, the background that I want to use. Just because, you know, sometimes not all of it comes out perfect, and we just want a specific section that would be in our background or our die cut. So decided to go ahead, die cut that out, and then I said, well, I wonder if I can maybe add a little stamping to it. So I decided to use the My Favorite Things, I think it's called Best Friend Words background. I think I'm going to show it here. It's called Best Friend Background. Hey, 5 points for me. And I'm going to use this Brilliance. It's a Galaxy Gold pigment ink. I believe I got this from, it's rather Hobby Lobby or Michael's. And I didn't notice that I had a little plastic thing on there. But we're going to go ahead. We're going to pat that on our background, background stamp, and stamp it down. Then we're going to take, I think I took one of my oxide inks, oxide brushes, and I just picked up any of the blue brushes that I had from my oxide stash. So I have like brushes that I have for dyes and one for oxides. The oxides tend to stick more on the brush and I don't really clean it afterwards. So I just took my oxide, one of my blue oxide brushes, didn't really care what color, I just knew I wanted it to be blue. And then I went along the edges of my tag just to kind of add that blue, like a blue fade in, just to give a little color. Then I went through my stash and I found like these die cuts. I think it's from Simple Stories. I'm going to show it on here. And I put some foam tape behind it and adhered it to my tag. Now I wanted it to be flushed with the tag. I didn't want to have to cut it off. Yes, Simple Stories die cuts. And then I just cut off any kind of trimming that was left out. As you can see, like on the side of the Santa, there's like a little bit of trimming there. So I just cut that out with my Tim Holtz scissors. And then I cut out some Christmas trees from the My Favorite Things. This one's called Holiday Home Accent. And I cut out some Christmas trees and the wreath, and went ahead and placed those behind the Santa because I kind of wanted trees to come from the back of the Santa Claus. I put two of them, the big one and the tiny one, and then it came with this small, tiny little wreath, guys. This was probably the hardest thing for me to color. I probably would have did better using my waffle flower grip mat. That probably would have made it a lot easier, but I opted for struggling. So I just held it with my hand and colored, which you're gonna see here. And I went ahead and I glued the trees down because I didn't really want to do anything special. I wanted it to stay white, and I felt like it kind of helped to not make the background, because I didn't like the fact that the Galaxy Gold was kind of yellow. So I kind of wanted to like soften it a little bit. So the white trees kind of help with that. Here I'm going, look how small this wreath is, guys. It is such a tiny wreath. And it came with two bows. If you can see those two little dots right there, those are bows. Yes, I glued these together. My goodness. And I Copic marker them, jeez. I Copic marker colored them. And honestly, it was easy to color, but oh man, holding it down was a doozy. So if you have like a grip mat or something that'll help, I recommend doing that because this was a little struggle. Maybe if you had like one of those I believe it's called those pouncers, and you could just take like a dye ink or oxide ink, any kind of ink you have, and then just pounce the color on there. You really didn't have to be oxide. I mean, not oxide. It didn't have to be Copics. I love Copic. I just saw Copic color. I'm trying to get into other things. This I have to admit though, this video was a little bit of a struggle. I don't really do tags, and I think it's something I definitely want to start doing. I didn't realize like they're so small, and because they're small, it's like you have to fit in an entire design into this small tag. And I'm so used to doing bigger cards, bigger designs, more space. So if you're not into tags and you think tags are like really easy to do, I dare you to try it. And I would love to see what you come up with. Tags for me, it may be easy for you guys. For me, it was not. It was hard to figure out what I wanted on here. And so I went ahead, glued that bow right on there, and I'm going to show you guys how this looks. All right, it's tiny. You see how small it is? But I decided to put it right next to the Mary and just glue that down. And then I decided I need a sentiment. So I took one of my Simon Says sentiment strips and went ahead and trimmed it down, whatever sentiment I wanted to use. I opted for the Merry Christmas, something simple. And I use this is called a Fisker trimmer. You can get this at like a Walmart, Hobby Lobby, any of your local craft stores, or even like Walmart. I'm not sure Walmart, supermarkets. I don't know. Walmart's not really a supermarket; it has all in one. I digress. But any store that you have that kind of sells like craft items, right? And then I went ahead and trimmed it down and tried to locate a place for it. I found this little charm that I had. I got this from Hobby Lobby. It was like a little snowflake charm, and I kind of wanted it to like dangle there. So I went ahead and placed it so that I can know exactly where I'm going to put my sentiment, so it's not, hovering over my sentiment. And then I put a little foam tape behind my sentiment strip, remove the backing, the release backing, and then place that on my tag. Then I'm going to look for, I believe I had like some white gold, like a not yarn, string. I'm not sure the name of it, but I found some and I'm going to use that to kind of hold the charm and the tag together. Now, the dynamics for the tag also comes with an option where you can put your tag, you can die cut your tag top, like that top part. I was going to cut it out, then I said, never mind. I'm just going to cut it all out. It's one, right? And then I decided to, I was trying to figure out what color I was going to place on that top part, that tab, I guess you could say. And I opted for this craft. Yeah, I wasn't too fond of it. After I glued it on and I looked at it, I was like, I thought that it would bring in, because that die cut does have like a little hint of like craft color to it. You see like right behind the, I think it says Christmas greetings part next to Santa. It has like a little bit of like that craft color behind it. So I thought maybe it'll just help tie it in. Yeah, I don't think it did. I don't think it did. I definitely would have opted for a different color next time. But c'est la vie, right? You live and you learn. It's life. So I went with it, and then I realized I never glued the reef on. I don't know what I thought I did, but I thought I glued it. I did not glue it. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to make a small little knot at the top, and that's going to kind of keep our little charm on top. And as you can see, like I twisted because the tops were like kind of thready, so I twisted and then I knotted the tops, and then I'm going to trim it and make one whole knot in the on top, right on top of it, if that makes sense. Then I'll trim it off, and there we go. This is our tag. Not the best, but it's cute. Now, card number 2. Card number 2 was pretty fun. So I took one of my A2 layer dies from waffle flower, and once again we're going to trim the area that we need or that we would like to use. So I also wanted to make sure I picked out the one, like after I trim it, the next size up, so that I can create that border around it so I can mat it. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to die cut it, and then I brought out my honeybee, I believe this is called mugs die, I don't know. Again, it's going to be in the description, but I believe it's called. Now, I put this green, bright green paper behind it so that you guys could see it a lot better. But man, this is a shiny green. I did not realize how much it like took over. But I also have these, because we're going to color it, so I have these Copic swatches. I will link that below as well. This kind of lets me know what colors I have, how it looks when you do it in layers, as well as I'll put like little dots and stuff for me to know if I have a refill for it or not. So it keeps me organized, so I love it. And it also lets me see what color I want to use so that I know exactly how it looks, right? So I have that laid down. I'm going to take my X-Acto knife and we're going to cut a tiny slit where that cup is. But before we do that, I decided I wanted to add something to, well, I lied. I did cut it first. Then, after I cut it, I decided I wanted to add something to the cup. Like, the cup is cute, right? It's a nice little cute little mug and stuff like that. But how many, I mean, probably many of us have like regular white mugs, right? But I wanted to add a little design to it. So I took one of my Altenews. So I wanted to add this little floral print on the cup to kind of give it just a little bit of some flavor. I mean, we all have white cups, but we like to get mugs with little designs on it, right? So I figured, let me just make this a little bit more realistic, put a little design on the cup. And I'm using an Altenew stencil for this, and using my washi tape to just block off certain sections. Now we're going to use the saturated ink by Simon Says. Cadet, Marine, and Sprout are the colors. And we're going to do this in layers. I first cleaned my brush off a paper towel, and then I took my Marine and went into ink blending. It was not really much blending. I just kind of put a light layer of the blue, and then I went in with the Cadet, and then I used one of my mini blenders to get the little leaves on the side. That's it. It's pretty simple. I don't know if this is an actual blender though. Technically, it's a makeup brush, but I use it as a blender. So just think about some old makeup brushes that you guys may have, and you'd be surprised. You could pick up ink. If you could pick up powder, you could pick up ink. So now we're going to line it up to the other side, which adds the detail to the flower, and I'm going to use Cadet to color that in. And I'm going to still use my washi tape just to keep it in place, to prevent it from moving. And then that is going to be it for the cup. I do want to say that you don't have to make it a blue cup. I was trying to stick with the theme for Christmas, so I figured blue would be a nice. You can use honestly any color you want to. You don't have to stencil the cup. You can just color the entire cup or use any type of stencil that you have. Just make sure that you cover the top of your cup so that you do not end up getting it all over in places that you don't want it. All right, now we're gonna get to coloring. I'm gonna put some music on and I'm going to speed this up. Okay, so now we're just going to add that little coffee. I think I want to go with hot cocoa. So we're going to say hot cocoa. So we just put the little, where the hot cocoa would be on top, die cut, and then we're going to start assembling our pieces together. I wanted to use both, but I wanted the candy cane to go the other way. So I was like, I'll just use one. I did add little minor details to the marshmallows to give them a little bit more definition. And I'm gonna tuck those right inside of the cup and then one right behind the candy cane. And then we're going to try to place the plate. So this does not come with a plate, but you can always, like, even if you're not a drawing person, you can always do little minor things. For example, I took a piece of paper and you'll see I have kind of created like an oval to kind of simulate a saucer, so to speak. And so it looked like a plate, a nice little plate. It came out really nice. Once we put all this together, I'll kind of go into more detail with how I did it, because then I can show you a little bit more. But I like the way the cup came out. It was really, really cute. As you saw, I did add a little bit of gray behind certain things of the marshmallows. So as you see here, I'm just adding a little, I did a little oval, and then I'm adding a little lining to kind of give it some definition as like depth to show that it dips in. And then I'm going to place I'm going to place our little cup on top of it, and then I'm going to place a spoon on top of that to kind of simulate, you know, when we have our tea or coffee or anything, we put our spoon on our plate. So that's that, right? And then I did want to add a little bit of snowflakes to the background to kind of give it more of a winter wonderland feeling. I had these snowflakes cut out from one of my, I want to say my lawn fawn, I think it's called snowflake window frame, something like that. But I just took leftover die cuts that I had and kind of figure out where I wanted those snowflakes to be before I glued them down. Then I decided I'm gonna add a little blue to the edge just to kind of give it a little bit more definition and a little more faded of that light blue in the background. So kind of giving like a halo effect to the cup. And so we're going to go ahead and glue everything down now. It looks good. And then, of course, we're going to put our snowflakes down first before putting your cup, unless you're planning on putting your snowflake on top of the cup. So I went ahead and I started cleaning up my area because, guys, it was a hot mess, okay? And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to find the matted silver that we're going to place behind it. I was trying to go for one that was going to match the snowflakes. However, I have no clue where I got that paper from. I have no clue. So I took out my silver, I think it's called opulent papers from Sizzix, and it worked. It did the job, right? I took one of my A2 layer dies from Waffle Flower. I cut out the papers to give it a better size to fit in my Sizzix Big Shot. Then I'm going to run it through my Big Shot machine, and then we're going to start assembling the card together. All right, now we have assembled this card, and we know every place that we want everything. Only thing we don't have is our sentiment. So I decided to once again go to typed Christmas sentiment strips by Simon Says Stamp. I love these when I just need a quick sentiment, and we're gonna try to incorporate those instead into my card. So first, adhere everything down with my Barely Arts glue. I was struggling with this glue this time. It just did not want to come out. But a little bit of time, patience, effort, and prayer, it came out. So now we're putting the snowflakes down, and then we're going to kind of just start putting the entire card together. This card was a little bit out of my norm just because I don't really, I've never really done like die cuts without any type of sentiment that's with it. So I was kind of lost on what sentiment am I going to put? How do I incorporate the die? Like sometimes that happens, like when we're making cards sometimes and we try to figure out what to do with what we have, right? And like I think the mug was really cute. It was such a cute mug, but I was like, oh, I wish it had something like, hot cocoa on a merry, or hot cocoa on a Christmas night. It's like being with you, something like that. Just something to kind of incorporate the cup into it. But that you just got to step out of your box, and this is what I'm doing. I am stepping out of my box. And now I did put foam tape because I wanted to pop up a little bit and give it a little bit more dimension. And then I will go ahead and place this on the card. Make sure when you're using foam tapes and you're putting in little edges, you want to make sure that you turn it over and look at the front to make sure that your foam tape is not sticking out, because we don't want that, right? We want to make sure that our image looks as professional as possible and doesn't look like the amateurs that we all are. We're all learning. That's the thing about crafting. Crafting, we are all amateurs. We are learning how to create, make new things, and design and change it up. Like crafting is the one thing that it won't stay the same. It always changes on us. New equipments and new materials, and that's why I love it. It's like it is the best hobby for people with ADHD because you're always going to be stimulated. All right, we're going to place this cup down on our panel. Then we're going to place our panel on that silver cardstock in the back, which I honestly, it definitely, I love blue and silver. You'll see that a lot of my videos. I love blue and silver for Christmas cards. Oh, they're so cute. It kind of gives it like a Wonderland kind of a feeling. And also it's probably, I think I love it because I've always wanted my Christmas tree to be blue and silver, and I never did it because my kids love the multicolor. And Christmas trees for the kids. So go ahead and we'll glue that down. Place something heavy. I just put my hand on there for a little bit, and then we let it dry. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to start with our sentiment and get our sentiment together to place on our card panel. But look how beautiful it looks, guys. It is cute. It is just so cute. Now, the sentiment. Well, trying to figure these backgrounds were honestly a doozy. I've never used the same background to make multiple cards, so this was a type of challenge for me. But honestly, I will let you guys know at the end what I loved, what I didn't like, and what I think I would probably do better, for sure. So we're just gonna, the only thing that's left really is just to place this on our card base, and then that's it. And our card is done. And honestly, there's multiple mugs, Christmas mugs, dies out there from different companies. It does not have to be by Honeybee. I know, I think Trinity Stamp has one. I believe so does Lawn Fawn. So whatever die you have that can kind of give you the same design or so, go ahead and try it. Right? It doesn't have to be the exact thing. Plus, these videos are meant to be for inspiration. So we're just gonna add some confetti, and then that's it, guys. Like it was a pretty easy card. A lot of mental thinking and placement and trying to figure out where everything's gonna go, but it was fun. I love the fact that I put that floral on that cup. It just gave it a whole new look. And almost from a distance, it almost looked like it's like die cuts that I put on there till you bring it up close and you could see that beautiful look on that cup. And I loved it. Now let's get to the next card. So this was a little bit of a struggle for me, guys. I liked how perfect that snowflake came out. However, I was not too fond of the purple background, and I just could not figure out what to do with it. It was sort of difficult for me. So I decided to take my Lawn Fawn. This is the snow frame. I don't know, the one I was talking about earlier that also came with snowflakes. That's this one, okay? So I'm just gonna place it on there. I'm going to figure out an area I want to use. I'm going to lightly trace it out with a pencil, and then I'm going to cut it out manually with some scissors. It was easier for me to just cut it out manually than for me to, run it through my die cutting machine or anything like that. So I recommend doing that. Plus, if you use the die, then it's going to actually cut out the whole thing. But I think a die comes with it. Let's not confuse it. Trace it. When in doubt, trace it out. So I just traced it and then I cut it out with some scissors. And then I used a Gina K, it's like a reindeer, it's like Santa's sleigh, I think it is called. And I cut that out in black. You'll see here after we're done cutting this. But I cut it out in black and placed it inside the frame just because I wanted it to be like a window, like you think of like looking outside your window and seeing Santa and his reindeers just taking off for the night. So that's what I went through. I wasn't too fond of cutting Santa off. I was like, it's a window, it's not going to show you everything, and that's okay. So I went ahead and I just glued that down. And then I have this Hefty Doodle foam at double-sided adhesive sheets. These are very, very, very thick, guys. They are really, really, really thick. And I went ahead and I cut like really thin strips from it and placed it behind the frame of the window frame, just to kind of give it a little pop, to lift it up and give a little dimension to us looking out the window, right? Like it's not going to be a flat look, it's going to be placed further back. Then I went ahead and took out a blue paper or whatever I thought was going to kind of match it the best. I figured I have that blue mica in the inside, so maybe we can add that same blue as close as I possibly can to the outside. So I just trimmed it down a little bit, and then I used one of my 3D embossing folders from Alta New and ran it through my die cutting machine with the appropriate plate sandwich. So every die cutting machine has its own sandwiches. Just read your manual to know exactly what sandwich you need to use for a 3D embossing folder. So I decided I wanted to add a little bit more dimension. I took one of my Simon Says blues. I will have the color in the description below, but I just kind of just softly went over the embossing folder and all the lifted layers, got ink on them to kind of give it, to make it more pronounced. Then I went ahead and I used some scrap adhesive sheets that I had. So we used adhesive foam sheets, and this is just regular adhesive sheets. And I just placed that, the sheets behind the frame, and whatever fits, fits. Like I just wanted to use as much scraps as possible. So I went ahead and I placed wherever I can place the pieces at, and then removed the backing, add a little bit of glue because you are using an embossing folder. And with embossing folders, what happens is sometimes the adhesive doesn't actually go in the crevices of the embossing folder. So adding glue kind of helps to make sure that you secure your die cut onto your panel without worrying about it coming off later. And the adhesive sheets, they're pretty good. I think once I embossed with the adhesive sheet on it, but that's a little bit different because it ends up pushing both images into the paper and creating one whole embossing pattern in comparison to just having a pattern and then placing a die cut on top. But glue for safety is pretty much the tip I'm trying to give here. And so I'm just going to mat this on some white card base, and then we're going to add our lovely sequences. Now, not everything always needs sequences. Sometimes there's so much going on with the background die cuts that it doesn't need a sequence at all. And then sometimes you just need that little extra shine, and so you can add sequences for that. You can add dewdrops. It doesn't necessarily have to be like confettis or anything. You can, whatever you decide to use as a sequence, you can. And then I'm going to use, once again, my Simon Type Christmas sentiment strips. This is very handy for just creating quick sentiments. And then that's going to be the finished card once we add our sequences, and then that's going to be it. I know this was a really, really long video. I thank you guys for staying with me through this video. I knew that it's a little bit behind and I needed to kind of get that video out. I really do hope that you guys enjoyed it. It definitely was a challenge for me. But that's what, that's what crafting is about. And that's what this, one of the things that this channel is about, is always challenging yourself. And so I wanted to show you guys that, I go through my own challenges. Not all my cards are perfect. This is not one of my favorite cards, but it is a nice card. And I think for sure I would do some things different. So keep a lookout for that. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. I hope that you like and subscribe to my channel and hit that notification button so that you know when I'm putting up more videos. I've been doing both shorts and videos and creating a longer version of the shorts for those people that like to watch the full tutorial. I hope to see you guys next time, and remember, you matter, you're beautiful, and your life, your creation is the art of this world. I'll see you guys later.